I used to spend fucking 3 hours a day in the gym. And of course, I was also on a push-pull leg split that had me going 6 times a week. To be committing so much time, I should have looked insane, right? This is what I look like! There's a lot of other problems with what I was doing as a beginner, but here we're focused on the fact that I spent so damn long in the gym for mediocre results. My parents literally had to drag me out of there because I just kept wanting to work out, and they were paranoid I would injure myself or some shit. Once I was done with a session, half the day was already gone, and all I told myself was that it was all part of the grind, all part of the process, bro. Even when I did fix up my training split and exercise selection, I still had sessions easily clocking over 2 hours, still 6 times a week. Speeding up my workouts would have been huge for me at the time, which is why it was something I researched a ton, but never really found a good concrete video that told me things I could apply right away. So I had to find what worked for me through trial and error, and through this, I managed to cut my workouts down to a maximum of 2 hours, going only 4 times a week. First, I looked at my program and realized that I was doing way too many exercises and way too many sets. When do you know that you're doing too much? Every muscle group needs around 10 sets in a week to grow optimally, even less if you're a beginner. To give you an idea of my dumbassery, I used to do over 10 sets per muscle I trained in only a day. So cut out any exercises or sets that take you over that 10 set threshold. This might feel like too little work, but trust me, if you make each set count by training hard, aka going to failure, this will be more than enough. If you don't know what going to failure means, think of when you try to do as many push-ups as you could, and maybe you couldn't continue after the 8th rep. That's reaching failure on push-ups at the 8th rep, since you couldn't complete any more reps no matter how hard you tried. You may not know what this term means, so basically a superset is doing 2 exercises back to back with around a minute of rest in between sets. So instead of traditional rest times, you just do other exercises, but you have to choose the exercises carefully. You don't want to pick exercises that hit the same muscle groups, or it'll just fatigue you too much. And you don't want to pick exercises that will interfere with future exercises. Like if you decide a superset of bench press and curl, and then you have to do pull-ups afterward, you've just pre-fatigued your biceps, which is no bueno. Preferably, you want to hit the major muscle groups first in a workout so smaller groups don't interfere, and pick exercises that target opposite muscle groups, aka antagonistic muscles. So a better superset would be doing the bench press and pull-ups. Right after bench, you can do pull-ups and your bench press muscles will be resting while the pull-up muscles are working, and so on. You might feel more exhausted, but you'll probably find that you can still do the same reps and weight as before. That's how it is with supersets. It'll challenge your conditioning and make more efficient use of your rest times without actually fatiguing the muscles too much. Popular antagonistic muscle group pairs include chest and lats, triceps and biceps, quads and hamstrings, and glutes and hip flexors. So one last example would be if you have bicep curls and tricep extensions at the end of the workout, you could just do bicep curls and tricep extensions back to back with no rest, and your fatigue won't suffer. This can single-handedly cut down the time a workout takes by almost half. Make sure you avoid doing supersets with very taxing, almost full body exercises though, like squats and deadlifts. Speaking of rest times, they've never really been a problem because of a simple technique I use to be more accurate. Whenever I finish a set, I will go to my stopwatch app on my iPhone and start the timer, and then put my phone back and just wait until my rest time is over after around 1 to 4 minutes. I'll check the timer occasionally, and when it's time to do the next set, I'll reset the timer. This just lets me stay accountable and accurately see how much time I'm taking to rest. If you're spending like 20 to 30 minutes doing the world's most elaborate warm-up routine to unlock your mobility and 100% prevent injury, then all I gotta say is that I was the same way. You don't need all of that. Mobility is important. You can spend like 5 minutes doing dynamic warm-ups, but the most you will ever need to do is just the exercises that you're about to do, but with lighter weights. These are called warm-up sets, and you're supposed to just work your way up in weight, but never ever get close to failure or to it during these sets, otherwise that would just make them working sets. To work up in weight, start with half your working weight and do it for a set of 5. Then take 75% of it and do it for a set of 2. Lastly, take 100% of your working weight and then do it for a set of 1. And then you can proceed to your normal working sets. You only need to do this warm-up for 1 to 2 exercises in a workout. Any more and it's sort of redundant. What this means is that you will probably need to decrease the number of days you go to the gym. Dun, dun, dun. This might be hard to hear, but if you're a beginner and going to the gym 6 times a week, that's something that needs fixing. You don't need to be going to the gym that often, and if you are, your sessions should only be like an hour max. 4 exercises. Instead of push-pull legs or Arnold or whatever, stick to an upper-lower split. This is one of my favorite splits and is the perfect mix of days going to the gym and time spent recovering. These are another method of doing your exercises faster. It's simply done by pretty much eliminating your rest times completely. Sounds a bit strange, so just let me explain. So you take an exercise, choose a weight, and go to failure on it. After that set, just take a brief pause for 15 breaths and then do that set over again. You'll probably get like half the reps of the last set or less, but that's fine. Then after that set, just repeat the 15 breath break and do the final set, which will probably be like 3 reps max. Isn't this just lowering down the volume and making the exercise less effective? It is lowering down the volume and rest times, yes, but not all volume is created equal. Let's say you're doing 10 reps of a curl to failure. Those first 4 to 6 reps really aren't doing much as far as building muscle is concerned, since they aren't that challenging to the muscles. It's actually the last 2 to 4 reps that signal to your body that, hey, there's this force out there that is really challenging our existing muscle stores. We need more muscle to overcome it next time. What rest pause does is eliminate those first 4 to 6 reps, which is why you can only do so little reps in the next 2 sets compared to the first set. Basically a more efficient method of getting to those effective reps. This method gives comparable results to straight sets, but should only be used for exercises that aren't as taxing or heavy, like squats, deadlifts, benches, and rows. I like to use these for isolations at the end of my workout that I wasn't able to superset in. This sort of goes off of my point of using a stopwatch to track rest time. A lot of people, including myself, can get a bit distracted while training. Even just unracking and re-racking the weights can take up a good amount of time. I mean, you should always rack your weights back, but while you're re-racking the weights, you leave yourself vulnerable to passers walking by, checking your phone because you got your first notification in a week, etc. And just setting things up, especially in places like home gym, can literally have you decomposing by the end of it. Shit takes so long. So make sure to focus primarily on re-racking those weights back like if doing it was a working exercise. And as for staying off the phone, things that help are picking a music playlist so you don't have to go back to change songs or whatever, having all the apps you're gonna use open already. Like I already have my music player, notes app, and stopwatch app open by default when I'm working out. And lastly, you can go on do not disturb mode so you don't get any tempting notifications. Honestly, what has worked best for me is to just take off the headphones after my first exercise and not listen to any music the rest of the workout. Not entirely sure why. Probably because it's just much harder to hear your phone and do anything with it when you're in a public area without headphones on. And that's all I have to share with you in this video, brother. If you want more actionable advice like this, and you've struggled with things like sleep in the past, just like I have, you can also check out my other video on sleep here. Sleep is one of the 3 pillars of reaching your fitness goals, and without it, your results will be subpar. Just in general life as well, it's great to get a good night's sleep, which you should too if it's late for you. Anyways, you can like and subscribe if you'd like, and have a great rest of your day.